Hello and welcome back for another CX Trend session with me, David Dungay. Today I'm joined by Jay Patel, VP and GM at Webex CPaaS. Well, welcome to the show, Jay. How are you?
I'm really well. Good to be here.
Fantastic. And off the back of your award for the best CPaaS platform at the CX Awards, we are here for another session. We're going to be talking about CPaaS. It's very, very exciting. But before we get into that conversation, Jay, do you want to give us a bit of an intro to yourself and, of course, you're part of Webex?
So, Jay here. I run what's called the Webex CPaaS business, which is part of the Webex suite at Cisco, where we put together our CX solutions to help, essentially large businesses drive their customer experience across contact center, across CPaaS, and then across meetings.
Fantastic. So, CPaaS, we've been talking about CPaaS for quite a number of years now, but, what are the factors driving the growth in this market right now? And, where are you seeing CPaaS have kind of that biggest impact when it comes to CX?
The driver of growth has been very consistent over the last few years, and it really is digital transformation. Organizations globally are still going through essentially digitizing a lot of physical processes. Even everything from letters to human contact with customers, and replacing it with interactions that are digital in nature, that essentially ultimately help drive cost down, help personalization, and improve customer satisfaction. And ultimately, it's also now increasingly driven by obviously things like AI that have come into the market in the last year or so. Where it's having a real big impact is in customer support. If you look at how chatbots, how automation, how you can be routed through to the right person you need to go on to speak to at an organization, a lot of that behind the scenes plumbing and automation is also driven essentially by CPaaS technologies. It's still a very exciting time. There's still a lot of growth to go in the market.
So, in terms of opportunities, let's talk about that. There's growth there in the market, like you say, but also a lot of opportunities for interoperability and integration. Where are those opportunities? Where customers can really make a big difference on their customer experience operations.
Yeah, look, I think one of the changes that has happened, obviously, in the market over the last few years is we've gone from what I would call very basic CPaaS, people getting just notifications for a few things, to really much more integrated experiences across customer journeys. In order to actually deliver those integrated experiences, you need to interoperate a CPaaS platform with other enterprise platforms. So, for example, integration into the CRM, integration into the contact center, integration into an ERP system. So, I think one of the reasons why we probably won the award we did is it's one of the things that we actually focus massively on is we've created an orchestration and integration suite where our clients can essentially use our tools to integrate into their underlying systems and therefore create richer experiences for their customers. So the kind of experiences that you look at is essentially things where you might do a proactive notification to a customer about a particular issue. And after a conversation with that customer, a digital conversation, you might want to hand that conversation and all its content over to a contact center. And in order to actually do that, you do need a studio and the tools to kind of create the first conversation, and then also to integrate into whichever contact center system our customers are using to hand that conversation over, and sometimes even get it back. So interoperability and orchestration, I think, are really where we see it's critical to get that right to drive the next set of use cases in CPaaS.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I'm really interested in how customers are using it. You mentioned a few examples there, which is great.
Yeah.
How are companies really using this as this competitive differentiator, if you like? And maybe you could share like a few more sort of some of those real success stories from Cisco.
Well, one great success story we've had is with a very large UK public sector organisation that let's just say everybody interacts with. Um, they had multiple vendors doing lots of different parts of their um, citizen journey, I would say. They've consolidated it onto a platform. They do a lot more proactive notification with a return path. So it's things like reminding you to pay, like reminding you of deadlines, reminding you that if you don't do something by a certain time, you may get fined, and then providing you a return path to actually make the payment, to actually continue that journey. So we've seen that by consolidating onto one platform, they can then take a more holistic view of each customer and what they need to tell that customer, when they need to tell them, what they need to tell them, what outcome do they want from that customer. So we've seen great, the volume of communication that we've enabled that customer to do now is a magnitude greater than they're doing before with lots of sort of with multiple vendors. Another area where I think it's really interesting, so that's very much on the proactive side. On the reactive side, what we've also seen is, as you're aware, there are newer channels, like let's call it, so WhatsApp is a channel that we all use to communicate with our friends and family. It's a channel that you'll increasingly use to communicate with businesses. So we've seen a situation where a UK utility has been using WhatsApp and is now able to kind of serve 5% of its inbound calls through a WhatsApp conversation that's automated, that can go through to an agent. And again, that's taken some of the weight off off their contact center, and providing customers with greater customer satisfaction. I use it myself as a quicker way to talk to that utility. And probably finally, one other one that we've seen in the US is where, again, and it's where the integration matters. We've integrated with electronic patient health record systems, and that then essentially has allowed us to provide a solution that enables hospitals and health organizations to communicate with their patients as and when an appointment is due. Maybe drugs need to be taken. There's a whole lot of things that they do around keeping you well. But one of the stats that was great was that we reduced their do not attend appointment numbers by about 40%. And you can imagine that health organizations typically will, when you go and see, when you have an appointment at a hospital, there'll be a nurse, there'll be a doctor, there'll be someone to take your blood. It's a system that's built to handle throughput. And if people don't turn up, that's lost capacity and you don't get it back. So, integrating solutions that involve patient records, involve the admin systems of hospitals, and then fundamentally having a conversation with a customer to make sure if they can't make it, that they're letting you know. It's really helped save money ultimately.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's a very pertinent example, actually, the healthcare one there.
Yeah.
I do want to ask you about AI. You mentioned it previously,
Yeah.
but just how AI is impacting the CPaaS space specifically, and how's it helping customers get more from their technology?
Well, look, I think again, AI is a bit of a buzzword. Clearly, a lot of organisations and we ourselves had been using machine learning techniques to help our customers optimize their communication. So a lot of let's call machine learning stuff isn't necessarily new. What is new is obviously the speed at which you can do things, but also obviously now that you have some of these generative models, AI models, and LLMs that have changed how maybe our customers are now thinking about how to create their call to action. Like for example, we obviously spend time providing systems to send out emails. Now, emails historically you could have different ways of writing an email to get a call to action. Generative AI lets you experiment a lot more than you could previously. We're also looking at how generative AI might help generate video or audio content that again will allow us to be much more engaging to get the outcome that our customers want. So again, it may be that we've experimented this where we have a physician avatar that can speak to a patient about their appointment coming up, about what they need to do when they get to the hospital, what's going to happen to them when they get there. So a lot of this is all very kind of experimental stuff we're doing, because some of the technologies need to probably get a little better. But I do think what you're going to see essentially is what we provide ultimately is, and what CPaaS ultimately provides, is we provide solutions to help businesses communicate with their customers. And if you look at how communication itself is going to change in the next few years because of AI, because we can do so much more and we can optimize so much more, I think we're going to be providing those kind of technologies, and AI is going to help us do that. One of the other areas that's not often spoken about, but I think it's going to be a huge driver of CPaaS growth, is the fact that enterprises are going to get better at integrating their systems, because AI and co-pilots and coding co-pilots and better integration tools are going to allow them to create systems that can provide us with more events easier, so we can communicate more. Right. So, one of the bottlenecks today is that customers need to integrate the systems. You need to create the payload. You need to kind of have developers doing work. AI is going to help developers do more work and integrate more. And as that happens, they will find, therefore, more use cases to go, hey, my customer would really like to know when, I don't know, maybe we're low on a particular line of stock that they're really interested in, so I'm going to let them know ahead of time. Or maybe maybe there'll be, I can let them know there may be an outage somewhere that's going to happen at some point, or my opening hours are going to change. So there's a lot more reasons why the relationship between businesses and customers can get closer. AI will help, especially large entities, IT guys become more efficient. So we see a lot more communication happening, and the communication that you'll want, not communication you won't want. I know everybody might think this may be more spam, but again, AI should allow us to be smarter in communication and to learn what customers want. Right. So you say, some people like getting notifications, some silence them, some want them in the background, some don't want anything. Right. But again, I think AI should help us build those models to ultimately improve customer satisfaction.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, customer preferences as well, so important.
Yep.
We are all people at the end of the day. You mentioned AI. There's a lot of new technology coming through, a lot of new use cases that haven't even hit the market yet. Of course, data security and privacy are going to be high on the agenda for businesses when as these things come through the market. What are those kind of considerations for those businesses looking for CPaaS solutions around that sort of data and privacy elements?
I think firstly, obviously, data sovereignty has become a much bigger issue for all organizations globally, which is great, because I think we as a business at Cisco, we obviously have data sovereignty in many different places, and so we can deliver solutions where customers need that. The areas that I think are very interesting, which the CPaaS market historically hasn't focused on, and some of customers haven't really focused on, is they may have a need to send somebody a message, but what we've seen is we've always emphasized that when our customers send us a message to our systems, we typically send them directly to a large network, right? So AT&T, Verizon, Vodafone, there are no other middlemen, right? I mean, what we do, right? So if our customer system's secure, we're secure, the network's secure, then essentially you've got security. What we know, obviously, in the CPaaS market is that a lot of messages sometimes go around the world before they actually hit the customer. And that, I think, is something which I'm sure will be an increasing consideration for customers to say, hey, wait a minute, I'm sending you 1 million messages. How do they reach my customers in the end? So, I think that's one of the areas that we think is important, because clearly bad actors can intercept messages. And one of the other things that we're really keen on, I probably over the last 4 or 5 years have consistently talked about RCS and consistently talked about the new messaging channels, which I really like. I like RCS. I like WhatsApp. I like the fact that Apple and Google are getting involved in this, because what we will fundamentally be able to do in the next few years is guarantee customers a secure messaging channel to their customers. Mm-hmm. Today, one of the problems in email is, do you trust the email? Right? Has it come from the right source? It's spoofed or it's spoofed, and therefore we know it's a big issue for communications across email. Unfortunately, SMS, also over the last few years, with a lot of fraud, smishing, people putting links in and be able to kind of, like I said, defraud people, has become an issue at times. We obviously work with the industry, with the telcos, to really stop that at its source. But it's very difficult on SMS because of the interoperability of SMS globally, right? So you may receive a message looking like it's from your bank or from, and it's coming from some country somewhere where someone's managed to kind of spoof the header. So what we see with some of the newer channels is that actually they can be branded, and the brand verification is happening centrally through ourselves or through the networks or through the Apple and Google, and therefore we're able to control what a customer sees over an IP messaging channel, and therefore it's going to be more certified, or it's going to be, and that for me is going to be a key change, because we'll be able to say to our customers, hey, what you used to on email or what you used to on SMS, you can do on this channel, brand it, and it's secure, and we'll give you a read receipt, and it can be a channel for two-way conversation. So it's still a couple of years away. I think it still takes some time to get that up and running, but we're already seeing brands respond to our views on it and testing these channels out. So yeah, I think security is one of the biggest things in the next few years. I think the channels are going to come up for that, and as I said, I think the it's for someone like Cisco. It's probably the number one priority to make sure we get right.
Great. Well, while we're talking about the future, let's continue along that theme. How do you envisage the future of CPaaS? And how are you going to ensure companies that deploy it can be stronger and faster when it comes to their customer experience?
Well, I think there's still a lot of growth left in the market, and there's still a lot of change. And I think what we may have seen over the last 10 years is, at some points things have felt as if they've plateaued. But AI and the new messaging channels, and probably the threat of security or issues around security, are all driving change. And I think therefore you're going to see quite a lot of change. And I'm very confident in the next few years, like I said, you're going to have the idea of a secure channel to customers that essentially Apple, Google, and the networks and the vendors are going to certify as being secure. So I think that's going to be a great driver of change. Tied to that, you have AI, and what's really interesting about AI is that not only does it improve the ability of our customers to do more, but the ability to understand customer intent and react to customer intent, respond, react, and then essentially drive the outcome that you as a business or a customer wants to drive. So, I think that you're going to see very, very quickly, customers being able to say, I want to change my tariff. I've seen a better offer. I want to change my tariff. Communicating with a business across any of the channels that I mentioned, and it just happening in the background, and it all being very automated. without necessarily huge amounts of new coding. It's just like I said, people are going to stitch together some of the AI models, some of the new channels, existing business systems, and I think you've got quite a lot of change happening in the next few years, and ultimately it'll all be down to driving the cost of operations down and the cost of serving customers. But going to the point of customer experience, ultimately, as we all know, customer experience is the battleground that most organizations are fighting on. And you can reduce costs, but you can also improve customer experience. And that is what then ultimately drives loyalty, retention, and people being valuable to you as customers. So I do think the CPaaS, us, our competitors, all of us are kind of able to help large organizations do this, and it's a very exciting time.
Yeah, absolutely is. Well, Jay, unfortunately, that is all we have time for today. But I would like to thank you for coming along and sharing some of your insights. And congratulations again on picking up Best CPaaS Platform of the Year at the CX Awards.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching. You've been watching me, David Dungay, on CX Today. If you like today's conversation, please give us a like and a share on social media. And don't forget, you can follow all the CX Trends action on social by using the CX Trends hashtag. That's it from me. See you next time.